model is obviously makes sense from the perspective that we don't want to spend hours in a waiting room, especially not just in the pandemic, because Teladoc was growing well before the pandemic. But again, Teladoc is one of these stocks, and there's about 4, 5, 6 of them that I could just think off the top of my head that are companies that are much better now than they were before the pandemic, because of the pandemic accelerating growth. But the stocks are trading for less than they were before the pandemic became a problem. Teladoc is one of those. Teladoc, what I find really interesting about this is last year, when the stock was doing well, they bought a company called Livongo Health. And it's a different model. It's not a matter of virtual rooms. This is a matter where it's whether it's weight loss management. Diabetes is their big thing, where basically they had when you take a glucose meter, you take your blood reading, your sugar level, and if it goes high, they immediately just text you and they start consulting you. So it's sort of like the nagging mom, except it is actually in your phone, and they can actually counsel you one-on-one. It doesn't have to be like little robot prompts to get you back to where you are, and it's been proven to work. I mean, it's just like everything else that it's been proven to get you straight and narrow, and a lot of companies have hopped onto the Livongo kind of platform because they go, we want healthy employees. It's fine, we accept we have going to have diabetics here. Let's try to control their blood sugar so they are more productive and don't wind up being health risk for their lives, much less for our company. So and the whole only reason I'm bringing up Livongo is right now, all of Teladoc is worth less than what they paid for Livongo, just one acquisition last year. So it's sort of insane how, and again, maybe they clearly they overpaid for Livongo by most of measuring sticks, but I think Teladoc is the kind of company that it's not perfect. The thesis 2 years ago, it seemed like there was no competitor. Now there is, and a lot of high-tech companies are saying, I want in on that, because how easy is it to just set up, virtual doctors, get a network of doctors all around the world, and telehealth, telemedicine. It's a competitive market right now, more competitive than it was a year ago. But the visits that Teladoc, it's still posting healthy year-over-year growth, even now when it's safe to go see a dermatologist, safe to go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, it's safe to see a weight loss management consultant, all these different specialists that you can find right on Teladoc and pay either nothing or $5, $10, depending on your insurance plan. I think it's a very dynamic platform, and Teladoc, despite the competitive climate, I think is going to continue to be a leader. So I really like Teladoc, and especially like it at today's prices.
And this is one of those companies that you forget how long it takes to disrupt anything in the healthcare industry. Like, this is an insanely slow-moving industry. If a company is growing, the way that Teladoc is, I think that's a really positive sign. The other thing is they are the disruptor, not the disruptee. So you talked about competitors getting into the market. I mean, United Health Group is just down the road from me here. That's a company where you think about their business model. Are they going to completely disrupt their business model to go to a lower margin, business potentially, or at least lower opportunity from an overall standpoint? I question who's going to be able to go into that space and really be competitive. I'm not saying there isn't going to be competitors, but some of the companies that are spinning up, offerings are maybe not the ones that are going to be the disruptor. And so I like what you said there. Matt, do you have some thoughts?
Yeah. So where I struggle on Teladoc, and maybe Rick can put my mind at ease on this, when I think of these pandemic plays, there's two ends of the spectrum. There's companies that provided a temporary solution to pandemic disruption. Think Peloton, something that we're kind of seeing now is just kind of a temporary solution. And then there's companies that took something that was already that was a bad process, pandemic or not, and made it better, like say DocuSign. I have to think Teladoc falls somewhere in the middle there. Some people are going to go back to doctors. You're not going to see the stickiness that we had in 2000 in that business. But where on that spectrum do you think Teladoc lies?
Yeah, it's not DocuSign, that it's a complete 100% replacement, better than the original in every sense. But again, when you think Teladoc and you think telehealth in general, they can do a lot of things that you normally wouldn't expect. I mean, there's now like USB thermostats so they can take your temperature remotely. Obviously, there's stuff like a dermatologist can actually look at you. I mean, they won't be able to get a biopsy. You have to do that in person. Stuff like lab tests and stuff. So there is a lot of stuff that does not, you need a doctor. You're not going to get a proctologist checking you out through Teladoc. That's not going to happen. You have to go in person, and I get that. But I think there's plenty of opportunities within the primary care, especially when, I have a cough or I think someone's coming down with something or they have a fever, simple stuff that you would actually either get up and go to like one of the minute clinic urgent care places or to an actual doctor. that is no longer necessary. Those basic things that are just basically non-invasive, which is what Teladoc can do really well, stuff like psychiatry and psychology and all these kind of therapy and stuff like that. There are a lot of stuff that they can disrupt, and they're already doing that. But again, and the company was going well before that. But yes, it's not a complete substitute. No way is and again, I know that I own 2 REITs that are thanks to you, Matt, that are medical buildings. That are own medical buildings and hospitals and stuff like that. I don't want them to go out of work either, and I don't think they will. But Teladoc there's a part of the market that I think is very important. 24-hour around the clock, that they will find a doctor for you at the other end of the world to help you if it's 3 a.m. and you have a condition where you really wouldn't be able to get it from a doctor unless you're going to like an emergency room or an urgent care clinic that's open 24 hours. So definitely, I think it's a business model that is underappreciated. But yes, it's not a perfect disruptor because it will never disrupt everything.